welcomed into your home. And I'm so excited to be broadcasting to you live. We are seeing what is going to be of the stock market today. Right now, the stock market keeps going up despite the feelings, despite the high prices, despite the prices of high gas, despite of the people getting laid off. This stock market keeps pushing forward. One would have to ask, is the economy that good, or is inflation getting so out of control that this is what's the effects of printing so much money that we did during the COVID years, and even the money that we printed before that? Many presidents all are complicit in printing out more money than this country really has. And when you look at the debt clock, we already should be crossing the $40 trillion mark pretty soon if we haven't yet. And we are seeing that we are in deep debt as a nation. And that does not even include the future liabilities that are not included on top of that, which is Social Security, all these social programs. That's like another $140 trillion that we have. So if one would look, we're really closer to $200 trillion worth of debt. You must count the unfunded liabilities, which includes Social Security. And if you look at the debt clock, go all the way to the down portion. And when you see unfunded liabilities that we have, that's what they mean. Social Security and all the future money that we already promising people that we technically don't have. So one would have to look at what is the economy going to look like in the next few years. So far, if you're a Trump fan, you're bullish. You're saying this is going to be the best years of our life. But if you're on the other side and you say, hey, I don't really see how this economy is going to go. And I'm actually in the middle. I'm actually in the middle where I don't know where the economy is going to go. But one thing I do know is that not everything keeps going up. Many people have this feeling that it is going to truck right through. Could it happen? Possibly. And with inflation, the way we're doing, yeah, it's going to go up like that. So if you have assets, that's the thing. When Robert Kiyosaki wrote the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, he talked about assets and liabilities. And when he said that assets put money into your pocket, liabilities take money out of your pocket. That's why you see so many people who have done well in life. And I'm not talking about just only millionaires. There's a lot of thousands that have done well. They have assets, whether stock, whether real estate, one or two, three or four rentals. Those are assets that you're buying with money that's worth less each and every single year. And as this country continues to print money, we're going to see that many of you who have assets such as real estate, such as stock, you're going to do very well. That's why I advocate for people to play the long term. When I say that, I'm a finance pastor, many people have this inkling that there's overnight money. That's not what I'm preaching here. One has to look at, you have to have a 1 to 3 year plan, 1 to 5 year plan, plus a 1 through 20 year plan, 1 through 30. And if you're young and you're listening to me right now, you should start putting money away in good stock. Maybe you should look at the products you enjoy. I usually tell people this: look at what car you drive, what's in your home, what do you love to purchase, if you're married, what does you and your spouse, where do you go shop, where do you go eat? If you have children, what do you buy them? And if you have children in the age range, anywhere from that 12 to about 17-year range, you should ask them, what do they love? And if you start seeing those companies that most of these kids love around that age are generally either the hip thing or the new and up and coming company that could be the $1 trillion company of tomorrow. Think of it. Many of us who I'm going to be 49, but many kids that grew up playing Mortal Kombat, playing on Nintendo, Sony PlayStation, Xbox. You look at many of these graphics that we start seeing now, it was Nvidia that was the company behind that. And you start seeing that Nvidia was a company that was all about evolution and moving forward and moving the needle and wanting to help society. And you start seeing that the companies today that may seem maybe small and insignificant Tomorrow's going to be the powerhouses of tomorrow. I feel like that about Coinbase. I feel like that about Robinhood. I feel like that about a lot of up and coming companies that could be the trillion-dollar companies of tomorrow. And you start seeing that in the financial services type of thing. You start seeing the gifts that God has given you. Many of you understand an industry very well. Many of you just nerd out at stuff. And God is giving you a gift. And I always tell people behind that, there's a publicly traded company in your space. So look at those things that God is giving you. And I could tell you this, there's no insignificance in God's equation. Every single place that God has placed you, every single step or place that your feet have touched, you have learned something that God is going to use towards your future. And you never know. Maybe if your first job was at McDonald's, look at the systems, look at the way they do process things, look at how they run a company. And many of you who work maybe at your first job being maybe a Chick-fil-A or McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's, look at systems and look at where God has placed you. And as you start making money, you should take your money and put it away in good stock. And if you haven't yet, you could start your Roth IRA even at any age. Like, so that's one of the things I would say, start putting money away. And if you're the of age of you're saying, hey, what should I start doing? You should start putting money away and play the long-term game. And if you say to yourself, well, I don't know what stock to pick, then pick an ETF, an exchange traded fund. My favorite two are going to be the SPY and the QQQ. And those are my two favorites. There are many great other ones. I'm not disparaging any other companies, but those are two of my favorites because they mirror. One mirrors the S&P 500, the other mirrors the NASDAQ. And it's one of those things that you have a basket and it's better than a mutual fund. I'm not a fan of mutual funds, even though there's a couple of good ones that I would say, hey, I would consider those. But mass majority, they are loaded with fees and they're front loaded with a lot of fees that maybe eat up at a lot of people's wealth. For those of you that have 401ks, if you start looking at how much the fees add up, that 1 or 2% over the course of 20, 25 years eat up at about a third of your portfolio. So we're going to be looking at what's going to be happening today. So far, the futures are pointing towards an up market. The S&P 500 is looking to cross that 7,600 mark. Tomorrow, it's a holiday, so you're going to see maybe some push up. I'm looking forward to see what the market is going to do, and I want to share S&P 500 right now is we're seeing that it just keeps chugging along right here. If you look at it, it's almost doing a stair step up. This could be considered right here a bull flag pattern. And as you can see, the stock market is taking up. I believe that this stock is going to continue to go up. It all depends on the news in Iran. If there's a call for peace, if you see that Iran is willing to negotiate, with I seriously doubt, then you're going to see this is going to be a big boost for the economy. Oil needs to come down. People psychologically look at the price of gas and can gauge where the economy's at. People psychologically can gauge the price of food, the price of eggs, the price of chicken, the price of what you used to get and how much you get now, how much less you get now. People gauge the economy. And right now, the Trump administration is not winning the collective whole of the nation. He's not winning with them, even with people who voted for him. So you're looking at, there's a lot of people in the Republican side that are losing their jobs. There's a lot of people in the Republican side that are now be like, hey, I'm still struggling. This is not going the way I thought it was going to go. That's why we cannot put our trust in man. That's why I'm telling you, these politicians, they're using us as Christian people. These politicians are using us. God did not, and this is going to be controversial, but God did not call us to fight for rights. He called us to stand up for righteousness. There's a difference. There's a difference. They're using us. They're using us. And as the Christian nation, they used to say that the Christian community needs to rise up and vote. That's a civic duty. We're not called for that. We're called to stand up for righteousness. When you stand up for righteousness, everything else falls into place. The culture changes. Folks, this president needs to get on his knees and ask God to come into his heart. Many of us out there, we need to. Don't let politicians divide us. They're both using us, Republican and Democrat. They're using us. So the economy falls on what happens with Iran. So let's see what happens, because this Trump administration needs this crisis to either end quickly, because he is losing at the home front. Now we're looking at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, again, making a nice move towards the upside. This has been a beautiful pattern. It's been a great recovery. Will the NASDAQ continue? I think it will. AI is driving this. If you're long-term investor, you're thinking about the QQQ, I'm telling you, this is something you should consider. The QQQ is going to follow this NASDAQ. NASDAQ is poised to go up. My goodness. Welcome to the party, Dow Jones. Welcome to the party, Dow Jones. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party. The Dow Jones finally passed that 50,000 mark. It still has a long way to go to keep up with the S&P and the NASDAQ on that V-shaped recovery. It is making some serious moves that one could start arguing, okay, we see you, Dow Jones. We see you, Dow Jones. Let's look at some of my favorite stocks. Apple, again, had a nice little bullish run. It is following the simple day moving average. It's kind of just teetering right on that line. I'm looking for this to continue, but I'm also cautiously looking for a pullback. We have been moving precipitously in an upward manner. I'm not saying I'm going to keep riding the wave until I see a pullback. Right now is you take your feelings, you take them aside, and you say, okay, these stocks right now are overbought, and should I take profits, or should I just keep riding the wave? And if I feel like the tide may turn, could I have option insurance on my portfolio? That's another way, where the technical name is called a collar. So we're looking at that. So let's look at what it does. Tesla, again, just choppy. If you have done well just following the daily moves, then you're doing well. For the last few months, trading Tesla as a swing trader has been horrible. It's been, at least for me, it's been horrible. Not like the last year was a lot nicer of a trading Tesla on a swing trade. Tesla has been mainly if I'm in a trade 1 or 2 days and I got to get out. So Tesla, I love you, but you're also you a heartbreaker too. Netflix. I've been talking about Netflix. It has gone right back down into this zone. Right back down into this zone. I'm believing that people are going to start loading up. If this stock starts picking right back up, you got to see, my precious people, this is a long-term play. Right now, with Netflix, you're buying a Louis Vuitton purse, but you're paying a TJ Maxx price for it. I'm telling you, folks, this is it. This stock, I believe long-term. So many people have doubted Netflix. I really don't. I really like Netflix. I think it's a great play right now. So let's look at the futures. So far, the S&P 500 is pointing up. The stock market's about to open in about 2 minutes. We're going to see what the market does, if it pushes up and then retraces, or we'll see what kind of enthusiasm there is in the market. But we should be hearing that bell ringing soon. Let's see what else. NASDAQ, again, NASDAQ pointing up. NASDAQ, it's going to be above that 30,000. I would not be shocked if the Nasdaq just gets into that $50,000 range in about 2 years from now. So that's where the QQQ is, where you a benefactor of that. Imagine if you're buying it right now, and if you believe that it could go to the $50,000 mark, then you're looking at it that you're buying it at a 40% discount right now, because you're using inflated dollars. You're using dollars that are worth less. You're using them today. So I'm excited to see what the stock market is going to do today. No telling what it's going to do. We see that gold right now is at 4,500. It has stayed below that $5,000 mark. Silver, like I mentioned, has been in that 72 to $84 range over the last few months. And I'm believing that maybe silver is the $75 a new price for silver. Could it be more? Maybe. Could it be less? Maybe. Depends on how artificially they keep it down. But I think this is going to be a great day for the market. I think for the upside. Now, I expect over the weekend for a lot of people to start taking profits. That's going to be something that I am believing you're going to see from the stock market right here. So I'm looking forward to see what is going to be the outcomes of the stock market. And hopefully tomorrow, well, to end of today, we should see where the stock market finishes. But I'm looking forward to it. I'll be trading. I'm looking towards to trading some futures today. But I also like to trade 15 minutes after the market opens. So I look forward to talking with you guys. If you have any questions, put it in the chat, and I'll talk to you guys next time. See you guys.